Did laser hair removal take away all of my hair in my Brazilian area? The answer is hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be talking all about my laser hair removal experience on my Brazilian area. So honestly, I wasn't even going to make a video about my experience because when I was looking to do laser on this area, or basically laser anywhere on my body, what I think most people are curious about is the results. If it actually gets rid of your hair, before and after pictures, all things like that. And for obvious reasons, I cannot show before and after pictures, but I still think this video can be helpful if you're looking to do this type of laser hair removal, especially in San Diego, or honestly even in LA, because I'm pretty sure that's where this company started and has most of their locations in. So I'll be going over all of the little details, the pain, where I'm going, the process, my results, the price, all of that good stuff that you want to know about laser hair removal. So starting off with why I wanted to do laser, I've honestly wanted to do laser for a very long time. I've honestly have pretty bad experiences with hair removal in this particular area for a very long time. So I've known I've wanted to get laser for a while now. I was just worried about the pain, the price, the results, just a couple of those things. I didn't know what to expect from that. I've been waxed once and it was honestly traumatizing and it was so painful. I was so irritated after, and by the time my skin settled, my hair started growing back, and it was, you know, the biggest waste of 50 bucks I've ever spent. And then for shaving, I just constantly get ingrown hairs, razor burn. All this stuff is honestly very painful for me. So I was definitely excited to try something new. Now, starting off with the location I go to, by the way, all of this stuff I'm gonna be talking about is just my experience at this particular location. Just keep that in mind when taking in this information. I go to a place called Sev Laser in San Diego. I believe they have 2 locations here. I think the other one is in La Jolla, and the one I go to is downtown. This is the company that the Kardashians go to. I'm assuming they have a bunch of locations in LA and probably the OC area as well. Oh yeah, they have like reviews from Rita Ora and all these people, and Kim Kardashian, of course. Anyway, so I felt comfortable going to this place. I mean, if all these A-list celebrities are going to this place, they gotta know what they're doing, right? So that's where I go to. In terms of the prep for laser, this is pretty universal, I would say, but this is also what Sev has told me in terms of prepping for your appointment. So your first initial appointment, you wanna make sure that you haven't waxed, tweezed, plucked any of the hair, probably anywhere that you're getting lasered, for at least 6 weeks before your first appointment, and then 24 to 48 hours before your appointment you want to shave. In regards to tanning, either outside in tanning beds or even fake tan and spray tan, you want to make sure you don't do that 2 weeks before your appointment, and I'm pretty sure 2 weeks after your appointment. And the reason for this, from what I've read and what they've told me, I probably should have mentioned this before, but how laser works basically is the laser targets the hair by seeing the color of it. That's why you've probably heard that people with fine or thin hair probably aren't the best candidates for laser, because the laser is just not going to be able to pick up where the hair is because they can't see it, so to say. So when it comes to having your skin tanner than what it naturally is, that's why it can kind of mess up the laser hair removal process. Now for me, I'm getting an area that's not really seeing the sun that much, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you are getting a laser, let's say on like your legs or your face, or something that's seeing the sun probably a lot more often, one, try to keep it out of the sun as much as possible for 2 weeks before and after your appointment, and 2, always be wearing sunscreen. Just be super diligent about that, because that can really affect the process and kind of your experience getting laser. Now for me, there have been a couple times that this is crooked. Now for me, there have been a couple times that I wanted to fake tan and just be tanner. So a couple times I did wait 2 weeks after my appointments. I would self tan, and then I would just make sure to scrub that all off before I went into my next appointment. There's also a couple other things that you shouldn't or can't do before laser. There's like probably a huge list of it that you can look it up if you really want to. I think some of them are, you can't use retinol or retinoids during your laser process. I'm pretty sure you can't be pregnant, and I'm sure there's like a few other medications medications you can't be on. For me, the most important ones were no waxing during your process, only shaving, and not tanning 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. Going into how long in between the appointments are, I believe my first couple were 6 weeks in between, 4 to 6 weeks, I don't know. My first couple, I believe, were like 4 or 6 weeks on the dot. And then I had a couple where I was really just keeping track of my hair growth. And this is one thing that I talked to one of the reception front desk ladies at Sev one time, is that my hair was growing back really slow. And I felt like 4 weeks wasn't enough time. Like I felt like I needed more time to give it to grow in order for me to shave. And so she recommended that I should, when they schedule appointments, it's just a recommendation, but you should be really confirming and like looking at hair growth, paying attention to your hair growth. If it's growing too slow, then you can push out your appointments a little more. And that has honestly worked really well for me after those first few appointments. Okay, so moving on to the pain of the appointments. This is probably something that I would say a lot of people are worried about when they first come into laser. And this was definitely something I was worried about, just thinking about my previous experience with getting waxed and how painful that was. I was really just hoping and praying it was anything better than that. And I can happily say that my very first appointment with laser was almost painless. Like if we're talking about on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super painful, 0 being no pain at all, my first appointment was literally a 1. When I went in, she did it. 2 minutes later, I was done, and I had barely even noticed that she started. And how Sev works when it comes to their appointments, I've heard of a couple other places doing this as well. I can't say that everybody does this, but as the laser comes out on you, a burst of cold air also comes out to kind of block the heat and the pain of the laser from doing that. And how they decide the intensity of the laser is they do a little test patch before each appointment starts without the air on, just to make sure that the pain is only at the level of like a little rubber band snap on your skin. If it's any more painful than that, then you should bring the intensity down. She did that for my first appointment. I did the test patch and it was fine. Pinched a little bit. I probably could have gone higher knowing this now, but once she put the air on, I couldn't feel a single thing. Now I do want to mention one thing about the intensity of the laser. From what I've read, from what I've heard, and from what some of the workers at Sev have told me, the reason it's so important to not go too high of an intensity on the laser especially, and why they do this test patch particularly, is because if you go too intense just to try and get the process more effective or try to get better results or anything like that, the more intense the laser you go, it can cause your skin to get a lot more irritated, and that's usually when you have the higher chance of scarring during laser. I have seen, honestly, some really scary pictures of people getting scarred from laser, mostly on the legs is what I've seen some pictures from, but I brought that up and I was like, you know, what's my best chances of avoiding this? And this was the first thing they said, is don't go more intense just to try and get better results. Really listen to your body, really make sure that it's not anything more than a rubber band snapping you back. So like I said, I probably could have gone more intense for my first session, seeing as how I barely felt anything, but it's better safe than sorry. I definitely don't want to get scarring at all. I'm sure there's other reasons you could get scarred too, but that was just what I've learned about this particular part of the process. The rest of my appointments were pretty similar in terms of the pain level. I would say that my average pain level during laser was like a 5. It's so manageable. It's so easy. I will say I think I have a relatively higher pain tolerance, but I would give the average appointment a 5, and that's including me increasing the intensity at certain appointments when I felt comfortable enough to do so. I will say, I think it was my second or third appointment. I forget which one it was. It was the only appointment I went where, I don't know if this is gonna be TMI or not. I don't think it will be, but it was the only appointment I went in when I was on my period, and I was about to cancel, but I know that you can go get waxed when you're on your period, so I just called them and she said, yeah, it's absolutely no problem. Just know that that area might be a little bit more sensitive since you are on your period. I go in, I do the test patch. It's a little painful. Oh, this had to be my second appointment because I remember thinking like I wanted to feel honestly a little bit more than nothing. So I might have had her like raise it one. It was definitely a little painful, but nothing I couldn't take. I don't want to scare anybody. It was nowhere near the pain of my first wax. Like that was unmatched, but I would say on my pain scale, this was maybe like a 7. But being my second appointment and only having that first appointment to compare it to where I felt barely anything, it was definitely like, oh my gosh, now I know what some people talk about when they say their laser hair removal experience is painful. But after that, that was the only appointment I went in when I was on my period. And after that, my appointments were still, you know, I could feel it, but it was totally manageable. And that's why I said the rest of them were probably like a 5. Now, in terms of what to expect post your appointment, this is honestly my favorite part of getting laser, is just, you know, the weeks that come after your appointment. So when I went in for my first appointment, she told me that after my appointment, I can experience my hair falling out. And some people notice it, some people don't. It's just a part of the process, whatever. And I kind of forgot about it. Something I didn't mention earlier is that you can't exfoliate or shave for a week. That's what Sev recommends, to wait a week to exfoliate or shave. Okay, so after my first appointment, you know, I wait a week to shave, and I don't really notice like any hair falling out. I'm also not really paying that much attention to it. So I shave, everything's normal. I don't see really any reduction in like my hair growth, like the speed of it. It seems pretty normal. So I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 days after, I'm gonna exfoliate and shave again. So I go to exfoliate, and as I'm like exfoliating, all of my hair falls out. Like it's coming out to the point where I didn't really need to shave anymore. And that was also very reassuring, because I was a little bit worried that I didn't have the laser as intense as it should have been. I was worried I just wasted a whole appointment and wasted money. And that is pretty much what happens after every single appointment for me. So along with that, I will say there's only been a couple times that I look irritated after my appointments. Sometimes I look absolutely no different. Like I don't have any redness, nothing. A couple times when I had increased the intensity of the laser, I would be a little irritated, but they have aloe there, and so I just put some on, and then honestly I'm fine by like the end of the day. Right off the bat was so much better than my waxing experience, and even my shaving experience with sometimes cutting myself and razor burn and all of that uncomfortable stuff. I really quick wanted to go over the price of my laser, because that was definitely something that held me back as well. I, you know, have heard people spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I just wasn't sure I was ready to make that commitment yet. I actually got a package deal with them. So I got 6 sessions for my Brazilian area for, I want to say like 200 bucks. I think it was a little bit over 200, but it definitely wasn't 250. Somewhere around there. Something super reasonable, at least to me, compared to other laser hair removal places in San Diego. And so that's how much I paid. Currently, I have done 5 sessions. So I only have 1 more session part of my package, but so far, I feel like that's the best deal to get, or I feel like that's the best thing to do if you're getting laser, is to get a package deal. What I should have done, and what I wish I did, was do my armpits at the same time. I'm pretty sure they offered me a deal to like combine them, because when you think about it, it kind of takes a long time because of how long you have to wait in between your sessions. I started like late December maybe, and it's currently, by the time this video goes up, probably like the end of May. So I've definitely been doing it a while, so I probably should have just combined them, but now I know. Now for probably the most important part, which is the results. Did laser hair removal take away all of my hair in my Brazilian area? The answer is no, it didn't. It is not permanently gone, and I knew this going into it. When I first heard of laser hair removal, it was like a big buzz with the Kardashians like years ago. You think that getting, you know, this 6 to 8 sessions of laser is just going to take away all your hair forever, and for some people that's how it can work, but for a lot of other people, it's more just of a way to maintain your hair growth. For me, that is what has happened. Now I have significantly less hair. It is so much finer. Like it's honestly probably thinner than the hair on my arm. Like it's very thin. Very easy to manage and take care of. Again, I have 1 more session. I don't think this last session is gonna do some magical cure, but I will keep going and getting laser just because I have a great experience, and honestly, even if it leaves me with like super slow hair growth or no hair growth for like 4 to 6 weeks, I think that is so much better than getting waxed, in my opinion. I do just want to say that laser hair removal is going going to be different on everybody, depending on your hair color, your skin color, honestly, probably a million things. It can affect different people different ways, and not everybody is the best candidate for laser, but this was just my experience with it. I have had a great experience. Yes, I wish it was completely gone, but I'm also very happy with what my results are right now as well. But yeah, that is my laser hair removal experience. I feel like I've been talking for an hour straight, so hopefully I said some helpful information for you if you are wondering about this or thinking about getting laser hair removal on your Brazilian area. If you have any questions or are curious about any other parts of the experience that I didn't mention in this video, feel free to comment down below, or you can DM me on Instagram. I'd be happy to answer you over there as well. But other than that, that is going to be it for this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.